All right, today we're jumping into the story of Issachar, one of Israel's 12 tribes. And his story kicks off with one of the weirdest prophecies in the entire Bible. It sounds a whole lot more like an insult than a blessing. Let's get into it.
So this is it. This is the blessing his father Jacob gives him. A raw-boned donkey, submitting to forced labor. I mean, wow. It's cryptic, it's kind of unsettling, and it doesn't exactly scream blessing, does it? And that really brings us to the big question for today. Was this strange prophecy a good thing or a bad thing for Issachar and all his descendants? The answer, you'll see, is way more complex and fascinating than you might think.
Okay, so to even begin to unpack this prophecy, we have to go all the way back to the beginning, to how Issachar was even born, which was pretty unusual. The clues really start with his name. His name is the first huge clue. Issachar literally means man of reward or hired man. And this is not just some random name his parents thought sounded nice. No, it's a direct reference to the transaction that led to his conception.
So here's how the story goes. Leah, who had stopped having kids, gets her hands on these mandrakes, plants that people believed helped with fertility. Her sister Rachel, who's still childless, wants them badly. So they make a deal. Leah gets the mandrakes in exchange for a night with her husband, Jacob. Leah agrees, she conceives, and she names her new son Issachar, a living reminder of that hired night.
You know, after an entrance that dramatic, you'd think Issachar the man would be a huge character. But actually, he kind of fades into the background. We know he had 4 sons and moved his family to Egypt, but his real story isn't about him as a person, it's about the powerful tribe that would carry his name.
And wow, what a tribe it became. From this one hired man, this massive, powerful force grew up inside of Israel. The numbers, when you look at them, are genuinely staggering.
Right from the very beginning, they were a huge deal. The first census counts over 54,000 men ready for battle. Just think about that number. Right out of the gate, they are a force to be reckoned with.
And that was just the beginning. Fast forward about 40 years, and bam, they've added another 10,000 warriors to their ranks. This isn't just steady growth, it's an explosion.
Which brings us to their absolute peak, under King David. 87,000 mighty men. At this point, they're not just a large tribe. They are, for all intents and purposes, a military superpower within the nation of Israel.
You can see it right here on this chart. Just an incredible journey. From a strong start, they became one of the most powerful tribes in the entire nation. So, how does this all connect back to that weird prophecy about a donkey?
Okay, this is where it all clicks into place. The land they inherited, the prosperity they enjoyed, and the huge responsibility that came with it, it all fulfilled Jacob's prophecy perfectly.
See, the tribe of Issachar was given an incredible piece of real estate, the super fertile Jezreel Valley. Now notice the language from the prophecy. He sees how good is his resting place, and how pleasant is his land. It was a direct, literal description of their territory.
So here's the absolute key to understanding this. The prophecy was a two-sided coin. Yes, they got a good resting place and a pleasant land, but that amazing blessing came with a burden. They had to bend their shoulder and submit to forced labor to protect and work this rich land, providing their strength to the whole nation.
And Moses, later on, doubles down on this very theme in his own blessing. He talks about Issachar feasting on abundance and treasures. This was not a cursed tribe. It was a prosperous one, whose wealth was absolutely earned through hard work.
So this powerful, hard-working tribe didn't just stay home and farm their land. No way. They played a major role in the history of Israel, producing crucial leaders at critical times.
I mean, let's just run through their resume here. They were essential in the famous victory of Deborah and Barak. They produced a judge named Tola, and later, not one, but 2 kings of the northern kingdom, Baasha and his son Elah. Their influence was felt for centuries, right up until their story ends with the Assyrian captivity.
And here's a quick, fun little aside for you. The name Issachar pops up again, this time belonging to a Levite who is a temple gatekeeper. And get this, he's described as a capable man with the strength to do the work, which, funnily enough, sounds just like the reputation of the tribe itself.
So let's circle all the way back to that donkey. In our world today, calling someone a donkey is an insult, right? But in the ancient Near East, it was the total opposite. A raw-boned donkey wasn't a symbol of stupidity, it was an image of immense strength, of resilience, of indispensable service. This was the animal that carried the heaviest loads that made farming and business possible. Jacob wasn't insulting his son, he was predicting that his descendants would be the strong-shouldered, hard-working backbone of the nation, the ones who see a great reward and have the strength to do the work to get it.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. The story of Issachar shows that a great reward often requires taking on a great burden. A beautiful, pleasant land requires a strong shoulder to defend it and to make it productive. And it makes you wonder, in our own lives, how often do our greatest blessings also become our greatest burdens?